We live in a world that is obsessed with the top of the charts, the top of the feed, the top of the food chain. We're told that to get there, you have to be the loudest person in the room. You have to main character your way through life, right? But what if I told you the ladder everyone is climbing is actually leaning against the wrong wall? See, there is an ancient secret, a sort of divine algorithm that flips everything we know about success on its head. It's a paradox that has lasted thousands of years, and it's the only way to reach a height that actually matters. The secret is this: the way up is down. Welcome to a quick journey through the living word. We aren't just reading verses today. We are recoding our minds. We are looking at 100 blueprints for a life that God Himself promises to exalt. Whether you're a creator, a student, a parent, or a leader, this is the strategy for the top that the world won't tell you about. Let's start at the beginning. James chapter 4:10. It doesn't say hustle until you're famous. It says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. Think about that. Not you lifting yourself, not a viral moment lifting you, but the Creator of the universe reaching down to pull you up. Are you ready to go deep? Let's dive in. We're starting at the base of the mountain. Most people try to sprint to the summit, but in God's kingdom, you don't start by climbing. You start by grounding yourself. Let's look at our first blueprint. James 4:10. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He shall lift you up. Notice the order of operations here. It's an if-then statement. The if is your responsibility. Humble yourself. The then is God's promise. He shall lift you up. In the creator world, we try to lift ourselves with SEO, networking, and branding. But those are fragile pedestals. When God is the one who lifts you, no one can pull you down. It's a permanent promotion. Matthew 23:12. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. This is the law of gravity in the spiritual realm. If you spend your energy pushing yourself up, the weight of your own ego will eventually bring you down. It's exhausting to keep up an image, isn't it? But when you choose the lowly position, there is only one way to go, and that's up. You aren't losing. You're positioning yourself for a launch. 1 Peter chapter 5:6. Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you in due time. The phrase "in due time" is the hardest part for us in 2026. We want the viral moment now, but God is a master gardener. He doesn't pull the sprout before the roots are deep enough to sustain the fruit. Humility is the process of growing your roots, so that when the due time comes, your character is strong enough to handle your calling. Luke 14:11. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Jesus repeats this principle so often because He knows our human nature. We are wired to want the spotlight. But have you ever noticed that the most elevated people in history were often the ones who didn't want the title? They just wanted to solve a problem. They focused on the work, and the world focused on them. Proverbs 29:23. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Think of pride like a balloon. It's full of air. It looks big. It floats high. But it's one pinprick away from a total collapse. Humility is more like a diamond. It's formed under pressure. It's grounded, and it's incredibly difficult to break. Which one do you want your career to be built on? The balloon or the diamond? Ezekiel 21:26. Exalt him that is low, and abase him that is high. This is a prophetic warning. God is the great equalizer. In your niche, you might see people taking shortcuts or stepping on others to get ahead. Don't be envious. The hand of God is always moving to balance the scales. If you stay low, you are in the safest place possible, right where God is looking to promote. Job 22:29. When men are cast down, then thou shalt say, there is lifting up, and he shall save the humble person. This is a power move when everyone else is failing, when the market crashes, when the algorithm changes, when the industry is in a panic. The humble person has a secret. Because they never relied on their own strength to get there, they aren't destroyed when the world's systems fail. Their lifting up comes from a higher source. Proverbs 15:33 and Proverbs 18:12. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. Solomon, the wisest and arguably most successful man to ever live, repeats this twice. Before honor is humility. You cannot skip the line. If you find yourself in a season where you feel overlooked or underneath everyone else, don't be discouraged. You aren't being buried. You're being planted. Humility is the prerequisite for the honor you're asking for. Luke 18:14. For every one that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. We end our first 10 Bible verses right where we started, because the lesson is that important. If you want to reach the top, stop looking at the stairs and start looking at your heart. The higher you want to go, the deeper your humility must be. Now that we've laid the foundation, let's talk strategy. If you want to get into the rooms where it happens, the rooms where the big decisions are made, you need to understand the social mechanics of humility. It's not about being a doormat. It's about being a strategist. Proverbs 25:6-7. Put not forth thyself in the presence of the king, for better it is that it be said unto thee, Come up hither, than that thou shouldest be put lower in the presence of the prince. In modern terms, don't be the person who names drops or tries to sit at the VIP table before being invited. There is nothing more embarrassing than being asked to move because you overestimated your importance. But there is nothing more powerful than being called up from the back. When you let someone else recognize your value, your authority is instantly doubled. Let your work speak so loudly, you don't have to. Luke 14:8-10. When thou art bidden, sit not down in the highest room, but go and sit in the lowest room, that when he that bade thee cometh, he may say unto thee, Friend, go up higher. Jesus is giving us a masterclass in the art of the entrance. If you walk in assuming you're the smartest person in the room, you've already hit your ceiling. But if you walk in as a student, ready to learn from everyone, you have nowhere to go but up. The lowest room is a place of observation. It's where you see the things everyone else is too busy talking to notice. Proverbs 11:2. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. Pride is a blindfold. It makes you think you know everything, which is the fastest way to make a stupid mistake. Shame is usually just the gap between who we pretended to be and who we actually are. But the lowly are wise because they see reality clearly. They don't have an ego to protect, so they can see the truth and make better decisions. Wisdom is the shortcut to the top. Proverbs 16:19. Better it is to be of an humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. This is about your inner circle. You might be tempted to join a clique of influencers or power players who are arrogant and cutthroat because they have the spoil, the money, the views, the status. But the Bible warns that the price of admission to that group is your peace. It's better to have a smaller following and a humble spirit than to be at the top with people who will turn on you the moment the spoils run out. Psalm 131:1. Lord, my heart is not haughty, neither do I exercise myself in great matters or in things too high for me. This is the stay in your lane verse. Success comes when you master your specific craft. Don't worry about great matters that aren't yours to carry yet. If you are a creator, focus on the storytelling. Don't stress about the 5-year business plan until you've mastered today's content. Humility is knowing what you don't need to know right now. Micah 6:8. What doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God? If you're ever feeling overwhelmed by the hustle, come back to this. God's requirements for your success are surprisingly simple. He doesn't require 1,000,000 followers. He requires justice, mercy, and a humble walk. When you get those 3 right, the lifting up becomes a byproduct, not a chore. Matthew 20:26-27. Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister, and whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Here is the ultimate flip. If you want to be chief, the CEO, the lead creator, the head of the family, your job description is servant. The modern world thinks the people at the top have the most people serving them. The kingdom says the people at the top are the ones serving the most people. Your reach is defined by your service. How can you help your audience today? That's your path to the top. Divine favor, the engine of promotion. You've all seen it. Someone with less talent, less polish, and a smaller budget suddenly explodes past everyone else. We call it luck or timing. But spiritually, there's often something else at play. It's called grace. And according to the Word, grace has a very specific target audience. James 4:6, 1 Peter chapter 5, and Proverbs 3:34. But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. This is mentioned 3 times in the Bible for a reason. Imagine trying to upload a video while the platform itself is actively trying to block you. That is what it's like to be proud. You are being resisted by the one who controls the outcome. But the humble get more grace. Grace is like a tailwind for your life. It makes everything you do go further, faster, and with less effort. Psalm 138:6. Though the Lord be high, yet hath he respect unto the lowly, but the proud he knoweth afar off. Think about the most unreachable person in your industry. You'd do anything for just 5 minutes of their respect, right? Well, the creator of the universe says he has respect for the lowly. He's close to them. But the proud, he keeps them at a distance. If you want to be in with the ultimate decision maker, humility is your backstage pass. Isaiah 57:15. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit. This is the ultimate proximity verse. We think we have to climb up to God's level to be successful. But God says, I'm already at the top, and I choose to live with the person who is at the bottom. When you are humble, you aren't just following God, you are hosting him. Imagine the top-tier ideas and energy you get when the source of all creativity is dwelling with you. Psalm 25:9. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. In 2026, information is everywhere, but discernment is rare. We all want to know the right move for our brand or our family. God promises to be the personal mentor for the meek. While the proud are out there guessing and making expensive mistakes, the humble are being guided and taught the most efficient way to the top. Psalm 147:6. The Lord lifteth up the meek, he casteth the wicked down to the ground. This is a reminder that you don't have to play dirty to win. You don't have to cancel others to get ahead. The Lord himself is the one doing the lifting and the casting. If you focus on your meekness, your strength under control, you can trust God to handle the competition. Psalm 149:4. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Success has a way of making people ugly, arrogant, tired, and cynical. But God says he beautifies the meek. There is an attractiveness to a humble person that people can't quite put their finger on. It's a magnetic quality that draws opportunities to you because you aren't trying to take them. You are reflecting something beautiful. Proverbs 22:4. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. If you're looking for a return on investment, ROI, for your humility, here it is: riches, honor, life. These aren't just spiritual metaphors. These are the three things every person at the top is actually searching for. Most people try to get them through greed, but they end up with empty pockets and no peace. The humble way is the only way to get all three at once. Isaiah 66:2. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. The gaze of God. Out of 8 billion people, what makes the Almighty stop and pay attention? It's not the follower count or the bank balance. It's the spirit of the person who realizes they need him. When God looks at you, he brings his power, his provision, and his promotion with him. Leadership through servanthood. The reverse hierarchy. We've reached the part of the journey where we talk about authority. Most people want authority because they want to be in charge. But true authority in the eyes of God isn't about power. It's about responsibility. To stay at the top, you have to become the foundation. Mark 9:35. And he sat down and called the 12, and saith unto them, If any man desire to be first, the same shall be last of all, and servant of all. Jesus is being very literal here. If your goal is to be first in your field, your daily to-do list should look like the person who is last. What does the person at the back of the line do? They wait, they help others, they don't demand their own way. When you serve everyone eventually realizes they can't function without you. That is true first place status. Mark 10:43-44. Whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister, and whosoever of you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all. The word minister here effectively means waiter. Imagine a high-end restaurant. The waiter isn't the one eating the meal, but they are the one who makes the entire experience possible. If you want to be chief, the one who makes the big calls, you have to be willing to do the waiter work. Greatness is measured by your capacity to solve other people's problems. Luke 22:26. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief, as he that doth serve. In the ancient world, The younger had no status. They had to listen. They had to run errands. They had to prove themselves. Jesus is saying, even when you have the title, even when you have the verified badge, keep the energy of the person who is still trying to earn their spot. Don't get old and entitled in your heart. John 13:14-16. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. The servant is not greater than his Lord. This is the ultimate lead by example. If the King of Kings was willing to do the literal dirty work, washing dusty, calloused feet, then no task is beneath us. If you're a creator, maybe that means answering the small comments personally. If you're a boss, it means being the first one in to help with the grunt work. If the master did it, we have no excuse. Matthew 11:29. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Exhaustion and burnout come from trying to be high and mighty. It's a heavy weight to carry. But Jesus says his heart is meek and lowly. When you stop trying to prove how big you are, you actually find rest. Humility is the antidote to the 2026 burnout epidemic. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Vainglory is empty glory. It's the vanity of the like count. Paul tells us to treat others as if they are the VIPs. Imagine a social media platform where every creator was trying to make other creators look good. That platform would be unstoppable. That's the power of lowliness of mind. Galatians 5:13. But by love, serve one another. Love is the motivation. If you serve people just to get to the top, people will smell the manipulation. But if you serve because you actually love them, the top will find you. Love is the only fuel that doesn't run out at the 3-hour mark. 1 Corinthians 9:19. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. Paul was a free man with high status, but he chose to be a servant. Why? Because he knew the gain was greater. You gain influence, you gain trust, and you gain a legacy that outlives your life. Being a servant isn't about losing your freedom. It's about using your freedom to win. We've talked about the theory and the strategy. Now, let's look at the track record. History is littered with the ruins of people who thought they were too big to fail, and the triumphs of those who thought they were too small to matter. Let's see how God flips the script. 1 Samuel 2:7-8. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, to set them among princes. This is the song of Hannah, a woman who started with nothing and ended with everything. It's a reminder that your current bank account or subscriber count doesn't dictate your future. If you are in the dust right now, take heart. The dust is exactly where God goes to find the people he wants to sit among princes. Your starting point is not your destination. Daniel 4:37. And those that walk in pride, he is able to abase. This verse was written by King Nebuchadnezzar, the most powerful man in the world at the time, after he lost his mind and lived like an animal for 7 years because of his pride. It's a sobering warning for the successful creator. The moment you think, look at this empire I built, you are on thin ice. God is the only one who can sustain what you build. Psalm 10:17, Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Notice the sequence. God doesn't just give you the success. He prepares your heart for it. If you haven't reached the top yet, maybe it's because God is still working on the container. He loves you too much to give you a platform that your character can't support. Isaiah 2:11. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. In the age of the selfie and personal branding, this is a tough pill to swallow, but there is great peace in it. When you stop trying to be the one who is exalted, you stop feeling the pressure to be perfect. You let God be the main character, and you become the vessel. That's how you stay grounded while you're rising. Matthew 5:5 and Matthew 18:4. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus calls the meek the heirs of the earth, not the aggressive, not the loudest, but the meek. And then he points to a child. Why? Because a child doesn't care about networking or status symbols. They are just present, curious, and dependent. To be the greatest in the new world, you have to unlearn the tough exterior the world taught you and find that childlike humility again. Psalm 34:18. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. Sometimes the road to humility goes through a breakdown. If you've failed publicly, or if your project didn't go the way you planned, you might feel broken. The Bible says that is exactly when God is closest to you. He doesn't wait for you to get it all together. He meets you in the pieces. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. This is the most famous warning in the Bible for a reason. Pride is the leading indicator of a crash. If you feel yourself becoming unteachable, or if you stop listening to feedback, you're in the pre-destruction phase. Humility is the only safety gear that prevents the fall. Zephaniah 2:3. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. Seek righteousness. Seek meekness. We've reached the halfway point of our first 100 verses that paints a picture of humility, and the instruction is clear. Seek it. Humility isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you pursue. It's a daily choice to say, I don't have all the answers, but I know the one who does. The ultimate blueprint, the descent to glory. We've looked at the rules and the warnings, but now we look at the person. In 2026, we study the habits of CEOs and world-class athletes to see how they got to the top. But if you want to see the masterclass on influence, you have to look at the descent of Jesus. He didn't just teach humility, he lived it to the extreme. Philippians chapter 2. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant. Wherefore God also hath highly exalted him, and given him a name which is above every name. Look at that phrase. He made himself of no reputation. In a world where we spend every waking hour trying to build a reputation, Jesus chose to lay his aside. He didn't care about the brand. He cared about the mission. And because he was willing to go to the lowest point possible, the cross, God lifted him to the highest point possible. The depth of your humility determines the height of your exaltation. Psalm 18:27. For thou wilt save the afflicted people, but wilt bring down high looks. God has a radar for arrogance. You might be able to hide a bad attitude from your boss or your audience, but you can't hide a high look from God. Humility is the only thing that keeps you invisible to God's judgment and visible to his rescue. Psalm 22:26. The meek shall eat and be satisfied. They shall praise the Lord that seek him. There is a satisfaction at the top that money can't buy. We've all seen people who have everything, but are never full. They are always hungry for the next hit of fame. But the Bible promises that the meek actually get to eat and be satisfied. Humility is the secret to actually enjoying your success once you get there. Isaiah 29:19 and Isaiah 11:4. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. Success usually brings stress, but the Bible says humility brings increased joy. Why? Because when you aren't worried about protecting your ego, you're free to be happy for others. You become unoffendable. When you are meek, God becomes your legal team. He reproves with equity on your behalf. You don't have to fight for your seat at the table when the king is the one who placed you there. Psalm 37:11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Here it is again. The inheritance. Not the aggressive, not the cutthroat, but the meek. And notice the bonus at the end. Abundance of peace. In 2026, peace of mind is the rarest commodity on earth. You can have the top and the peace at the same time, but only through the door of humility. Ephesians chapter 4:2 and Colossians chapter 3:12. With all lowliness and meekness, with long-suffering, forbearing one another in love. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Paul treats humility like an outfit. He says to put it on. This means humility isn't just a feeling. It's a choice you make every morning before you check your emails or open your apps. You choose to be lowly. You choose to forbear. It's a professional uniform for the citizen of heaven. Proverbs 22:4 and Psalm 113:7. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth the needy out of the dunghill. We close this segment with a powerful visual. The dunghill. That's the lowest of the low, the place of waste and rejection. Maybe that's how you feel today. Maybe your business failed, or your reputation took a hit. God says, "Perfect. Now I can show you what I can do." He doesn't just lift you to level ground. He lifts you to set you among princes. From the dunghill to the palace, that is the trajectory of the humble. Humility in the fire, the strength of weakness. We've seen the glory, but what about the grind? What about the moments when you've done everything right and you still feel like you're at the bottom? These verses show us that sometimes God uses the fire to melt away our pride so he can pour us into a new, bigger mold. Genesis 32:10. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, which thou hast showed unto thy servant. This is Jacob, a man who spent his life hustling and tricking people to get to the top. But here, he finally breaks. He realizes that everything he has isn't because of his grind, but because of God's mercy. When you stop saying, "I earned this," and start saying, "I'm not worthy of this," you move from being a self-made person to a God-sustained person. The latter is much harder to topple. Exodus chapter 10:3. How long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? This is the warning given to Pharaoh. Humility isn't just a suggestion, it's a necessity. If you feel like you're hitting a brick wall over and over in your career or life, ask yourself, am I resisting the lesson? Don't wait for a plague to break your pride. Bow early, and you'll rise faster. Chronicles 7:14, 12:6, and 33:12. If my people shall humble themselves and pray, then will I hear from heaven. The princes of Israel and the king humbled themselves, and they said, "The Lord is righteous." And when he, Manasseh, was in affliction, he besought the Lord his God and humbled himself greatly. These 3 verses are the crisis management handbook. Whether it's a national disaster, a corporate failure, or a personal mess-up like King Manasseh, who was one of the worst kings in history, the solution is the same. Humble yourself greatly. God isn't looking for a perfect record. He's looking for a broken spirit. If you can be honest about your failures, God can be honest with his restoration. 2 Chronicles 34:27 and Proverbs 12:9. Because thine heart was tender, and thou didst humble thyself, I have even heard thee also, saith the Lord. He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoureth himself and lacketh bread. A tender heart is the ultimate asset. In a world that tells you to be tough and unfeeling to get to the top, God values the person who can still be moved. And Proverbs 12:9 gives us a reality check. It's better to be despised by the world, but actually have the resources to take care of people, than to be a famous person who is secretly starving for substance. Don't trade your bread for applause. Matthew 21:5. Tell ye the daughter of Sion, behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek, and sitting upon an ass. Imagine the most powerful CEO in the world showing up to a meeting in a 20-year-old beat-up car. That is the energy of Jesus entering Jerusalem. We are not condemning owning a supercar or jet, but rather, we are trying to point to the fact that he didn't need the supercar or the private jet to prove his authority. He was so secure in who he was that he didn't need the trappings of power. When you are truly humble, you don't need to flex on anyone, even though you own everything. 2 Corinthians chapter 12:9. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. This is the Creator's lifeline. When you feel like you don't have enough talent, enough budget, or enough energy, you are in the perfect position. Your weakness is the canvas God uses to paint his strength. If you were perfect, people would credit you. Because you aren't, they have to credit God. That is how you reach a top that is supernatural. 1 Peter chapter 3:8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Be courteous. We end this section with the word courteous. It sounds small, doesn't it? But in 2026, simple courtesy, treating the janitor with the same respect as the CEO, is a revolutionary act. It shows that you understand the fundamental truth. We are all equal at the foot of the cross. Courtesy is the outward sign of an inward humility. The social echo, winning without war. How do people talk about you when you aren't in the room? That's your real status. While the world tries to win through clout and noise, the humble person wins through character. Let's look at how humility handles the people around you. Titus 3:2 and Galatians 6:1. To speak evil of no man, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. This is the cancel culture antidote. When someone else fails, The proud person uses it as a stepping stone to look better. But the humble creator looks in the mirror and says, "That could have been me." When you restore others with meekness, you build a community of loyalty that a perfect person could never have. People don't follow perfection. They follow people who understand their struggles. Psalm 76:9. When God arose to judgment, to save all the meek of the earth. There's a divine protection plan for the humble. When the judgment of the market or the critics comes down, God has a special interest in saving the meek. Why? Because the meek are the ones who will use their platform to honor Him. He protects His investment. Isaiah 57:15 and Isaiah 61:1. To revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, to preach good tidings unto the meek. If you're feeling spiritually dead or uninspired, these verses are your battery charger. God revives the humble. And notice that the good tidings, the gospel, is specifically addressed to the meek. If you think you have it all figured out, you can't receive the good news. But if you're humble enough to admit you're empty, God fills you with a message that will change the world. Proverbs 13:10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Think about the last time you had a beef or a conflict. This verse says the root of that contention was pride. Every time. Someone's ego got bruised. But the humble are well-advised. They seek mentors, they listen to their team, and they avoid the drama that sinks so many careers. Wisdom is found in the ears of those who listen, not the mouths of those who shout. Job 5:11 and Psalm 69:32. To set on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety. The humble shall see this and be glad, and your heart shall live that seek God. Humility is the path to safety. We think the top is dangerous because of the wind. But when God sets you on high, He exalts you to a place of security. And when you get there, you aren't lonely. Other humble people will see it and be glad. Your success becomes a celebration for everyone, not a cause for jealousy. 2 Samuel 22:28. And the afflicted people thou wilt save, but thine eyes are upon the haughty, that thou mayest bring them down. This is a recurring theme, because we need to hear it. God is actively watching the proud, not to get them, but because pride is a poison that destroys His creation. If you want to stay under the radar of God's discipline, stay low in your own estimation. Let Him be the one to look at you with favor, not with the intent to humble you. Luke 1:52. He hath put down the mighty from their seats and exalted them of low degree. This is Mary's song, the Magnificat. It's a historical fact. Thrones fall, empires crumble, and mighty influencers disappear overnight. But the people of low degree, the ones who were faithful in the small things, are the ones God invites to the seats of power. The top is constantly being vacated by the proud and filled by the humble. The mindset of the greats. Staying small to stay big. How do you handle it when you actually win? When you have the influence, the resources, and the name. In 2026, we see one-hit wonders lose their minds because they weren't anchored. These giants of history stayed at the top for decades because they never let the top get into their hearts. Romans 12:3 and 12:16. For I say, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Paul gives us the definition of sober thinking. Pride is like being drunk. It distorts your vision and makes you think you can fly when you can't even walk straight. Humility is sobriety. It's seeing yourself accurately, and the test of that sobriety is how you treat men of low estate. If you only have time for the big players in your industry, you aren't humble. You're a climber. True greatness is condescending, lowering yourself to value everyone. James 1:9 and 3:13. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. Wisdom has a specific vibe. James says it's a meekness of wisdom. It's the person who knows the answer, but doesn't have to shout it to prove they're smart. It's the good conversation that builds people up, rather than tearing them down. If you want to be seen as an expert, stop trying to be right and start trying to be meek. Numbers 12:3. Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. Think about this. Moses led millions of people. He stood before the most powerful king on earth. He saw the Red Sea part. And the Holy Spirit's bio for him isn't the great liberator or the lawgiver. It's that he was very meek. His power came from his submission to God. If you want to move mountains, you have to be moved by God first. Psalm 45:4. And in thy majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness. This is a success formula for 2026. You want to ride prosperously? You want your business or channel to thrive. The engine of that prosperity is a threefold cord: truth, meekness, and righteousness. If you have truth without meekness, you're arrogant. If you have meekness without truth, you're weak. But together, they make you majestic. Zephaniah 3:12 and Psalm 147:6. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Lord. The Lord lifteth up the meek, he casteth the wicked down to the ground. God's remnant, the people he keeps at the center of his plan, are often described as afflicted and poor. Not because God wants you to suffer, but because those are the people who trust. When you have everything, it's easy to trust your bank account. When you have nothing, you trust God. And that trust is the lift that brings you to the ground the wicked can never reach. Proverbs 15:25 and Isaiah 13:11. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. This is the final warning of the section. Pride doesn't just hurt you. It hurts your house, your legacy, your family, your business. God is a protector. He establishes the border of the humble, the widow, while laying low the terrible. You don't have to be terrible to be tough. You just have to be established by God. We've walked through 90 blueprints. We've seen the downfalls of kings and the rise of shepherds. Now, we reach the final 10. These are the verses that bridge the gap between our daily hustle in 2026 and the eternal perspective of the kingdom. If you're still here with me, you aren't just a viewer. You're someone ready to be exalted in due time. Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh, that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud shall be stubble. This is the ultimate reality check. In the end, pride is flammable. Everything built on ego and clout will eventually be revealed for what it is, stubble. But the things built on humility, they are fireproof. When the heat of life or the end of age comes, make sure you are built of the material that lasts. Samuel 7:18. Then went King David in and sat before the Lord, and he said, Who am I, O Lord God? And what is my house, that thou hast brought me hitherto? This is David at the peak of his power. He has the palace, the army, and the promise. And what is his response? Who am I? This is the secret of staying at the top. Never lose your sense of wonder. Never stop being surprised that God chose you. The moment you think you deserved the promotion is the moment you start to lose it. 1 Kings 21:29 and Daniel 10:12. Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days. From the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard. These verses show the immediate power of humility. Even for a king as flawed as Ahab, or a prophet as holy as Daniel, humility was the key that unlocked God's ear. The first day you decide to drop the act and be humble, the spiritual atmosphere around you shifts. You don't have to wait years for God to notice. He responds to a humble heart instantly. Matthew 11:25. I thank thee, O Father, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. In 2026, we spend thousands on courses and masterminds to find the secrets of success. But Jesus says, God actually hides the real secrets from the know-it-alls and reveals them to the babes, the humble, the teachable, the simple. You don't need a PhD in marketing to reach the top. You need the heart of a child who is willing to be shown the way. Acts 20:19 and 1 Corinthians 28. Serving the Lord with all humility of mind and with many tears, and base things of the world, and things which are despised, hath God chosen. Paul admits that the road to the top includes many tears. It's not always a highlight reel, but God chooses the base things, the things the world despises, to put the mighty to shame. If the world thinks you're not enough, congratulations. You are exactly the kind of material God uses to build his greatest monuments. 2 Corinthians chapter 11:7 and James chapter 1. Have I committed an offense in abasing myself that ye might be exalted? But the rich, in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. This is the inversion of success. Paul was willing to look small so that his audience could grow big. That is the heart of a true creator. And James reminds us that riches, fame, money, status, are as temporary as grass. The only thing that stays green forever is a spirit that has been made low and refined by God. Revelation 3:17-18. Because thou sayest, I am rich, and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. We end here. The final warning to the successful. The most dangerous place to be is at the top, thinking you have need of nothing. True wealth is knowing that no matter how many followers or dollars you have, you are still 100% dependent on God's grace. When you realize that, you are finally, truly, and eternally at the top. We've journeyed through 100 verses. We've seen the divine algorithm in action. The world's ladder is crowded, competitive, and temporary. But God's path, the path of humility, is open, peaceful, and eternal. As you close this video and go back to your daily grind in 2026, I want to challenge you. Don't try to be great in your own strength. Be humble and diligent. Let God handle the promotion and greatness. If this journey has shifted your perspective, leave a comment below with the verse that hit you the hardest. Let's build a community of creators and leaders who are climbing the right way. Remember, the way up is down. God bless.